Welcome to the SNLF DugOut Diaries, where today we have got a scoop for you. He's one of the most divisive and talked about figures in Sussex football, a manager who polarises opinion faster than a Sunday League red card. So joining me in the dugout today is Billy Wood, a name that rings out across non-league football for all the right and sometimes wrong reasons. A former music mogul turned football boss, he's gone from backstage with N-Dubs and Run DMC to the dugouts of AFC Upfield and Lancing FC. But let's not sugarcoat it. His time in the dugout has been chaotic this season. A couple of heavy defeats, mass player exits, financial scandal, and a public resignation that rocked his latest club, Lancing FC. Some say he lost the dressing room. Others say he was stitched up by the board. One thing's for certain, Billy's got something to say. And this time, no one's cutting the mic on this show. Get ready for the interview that will probably is going to upset a few WhatsApp groups. This is Billy Wood, raw, real, and absolutely unfiltered. So today, into the dugout, Billy Wood. How we doing, pal?
I'm all right, mate. I'm actually really, really good. I think that's probably the best intro I've ever heard. So I appreciate it. And this ain't the sort of dugout diary that we said we were going to do a few months ago, which was going to be about my whole career. I don't think we need to, but I think
I don't.
we've
I
got
don't think we do, Bill. And we've spoke.
no, no.
We've come up across each other on the touchline this season. I respect the fact of what you do for football. You're a character. I love characters on here. But there's an old quote that goes around that says this: "Silence is deafening."
Yeah, it is. It is deafening.
So
It is.
let's roll back a bit.
Yeah,
Started the season at AFC Upfield, great club,
yeah. Lovely
some
club.
great community down there, some wicked players, had a good season, nearly made the playoffs. I know you did a lot for that club, but at
Yeah,
the same time, you had the option to jump from step six football
yeah,
all the way up to
yeah.
last step. Now,
100%.
no one can begrudge you the chance of doing that and bettering yourself.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Uckfield, right?
Okay.
What happened there? Because you've gone over there. It's a new, you put it yourself, it's a new project.
Yeah, by the way,
Um,
on that, and loads of people keep using that project word, which kind of pisses me off a lot because it's not like I've said that everywhere I've been. Like the upfield was a project as we had to get our hands dirty in the summer to fix that ground. That was a project to build. So yes, I used the word project, and people can hit me with that, but it effectively was a project. Whether I left or not, I'm not going to bullshit. It is what it is.
yeah, and look, I know the stuff you did behind the scenes with that club. You
Yeah.
personally dipped into your own pocket. A lot of things that managers don't do, or more importantly, don't have to do.
Yeah, because I wasn't just a manager there, Mike. I went in there to run the football club, and that was never hidden either. If you look at the county league handbook or the websites or anything like that, I was the chairman of the football club as well. I wasn't just the manager, and I never ever said I was just the manager going in there. It was very open and honest that I was looking to help grow the place. The club effectively needed a bit of stability with the ground in the sense of its lease and that situation. So we just made sure that was done with the top lad. Well, I say top lad. He's a lot older than me. Calling him a lad's a little bit disrespectful, but Tom Parker, who was the previous chairman of the football club,
Good
who
guy.
owns, who owns the ground, who owns the land on the ground. Let's just say it was really important to make sure that was sorted for the football club. And and I have to give Nick Bignor a big shout out here because
Yeah, I like Nick.
Nick was the massive driving factor behind that and did a lot of work to make that happen. So I want to give him a shout out too. And even though she slagged me off on a podcast and sorry on the spaces, even Michelle Wright, I'm not going to sit here and diminish what people have done. At that time, they were really helpful in making sure we did what we needed to do. So I went in there with a bit of a different mindset after look, I left Hastings basically because I felt it was the right thing to do at that time. I
Mm-hmm.
felt drained, and our course was ran with the stadium not happening. I knew that the majority owners were going to sell up. Obviously, we spoke about this on the main pod before, and the truth is, Mike, I probably took a job too quickly,
Okay.
going to Haywards Heath with the women, the ex-Crawley Wasps. I probably took that a bit overly emotionally. I probably wasn't ready mentally for that. It wasn't happy. It was hard going from someone with full control to not really having control of the destiny of where you're going. So I departed, went to Borough, really enjoyed my time as the women's manager there. Like, and I didn't ever like even now. It's not like I wanted to leave, but the opportunity to go to Uckfield and do what we did. And I wanted to do the Eastbourne Borough women's team at the same time, but I wasn't allowed. I was given an ultimatum, meant that I jumped. So those three massive jumps, or two jumps at a time, third being later after Uckfield, too quick. And like you have to sometimes look at yourself and you have to be honest and you
Mm.
can't then blame people. It was me not being settled.
Do you think that? Do you think that set a precedent for people looking in saying, "Look, he don't hang
100%.
around the clubs."
100%. But then say that all they want. Like I was at Hastings for, over 4 years, like had the worst time ever with COVID seasons as well, how that mentally is affects. I was offered two jobs at Football League clubs and didn't leave,
Wow.
right? Two jobs, full-time jobs. Got like I'll share just for the fact of honesty, I'll share you one of the offers from a club that's in the playoffs right now, in League One.
Wow.
I was offered a job at, and another one that is a cut. Well, was a current League One club until they got relegated this year. So I've been offered jobs at Football League clubs, and I turned them down to stay at Hastings. So I'm not someone who just jumps unless I think it's the right thing to do. But I think my mindset might have been maybe I was searching for something that I left. Do you know what I mean? That when I
Okay.
look at that, before we get into the Lance and stuff, I think it's good to bring this up because you hear all the stupid comments online, right? You hear them all the time, or you read them, and like they don't really bother me. The only time it bothered me, and we'll talk about that on Lancing, but I don't get bothered by them because I always think like this: if you've got time to slag someone off online as heavily as some of these people do, or hide behind fake accounts, then there's something missing in their lives. And
I
like
get that.
I'm not going to hate on these people. Like, thank you for having me at the forefront of your mind, and thank you for effectively talking about me because I'm who the fuck am I to be talked about? Like, I don't care. Like, who am I? I walk out of my house. I go and walk my dog. I go down to go and get my local Costa thing. No one talks about this crap online, but these people seem to care about me so much. So if they want to speak, let them speak. Doesn't bother me really in that thing. And I always think of this thing. Imagine being at home with your missus. So it's you, Mike. You're at home with
Yeah.
your missus, and you're sitting on the sofa at 8 p.m. at night, and you're writing, "This person's a fucking wanker. This person's a snake." Rather, you're writing that. You are writing that on social media, and your wife goes, "Mike, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just writing about this Billy Wood character online." Mate, you're ready for divorce because any like, come on, like let's be real. Let's
I,
put
I
into
get I,
perspective.
I get 100% what you're saying. And when the initial news come out about Lancing that you were taking over,
Yeah,
I
no, not
was
taking over manager's job. Don't.
manager's job. Yeah, but we'll go into that a bit more.
Yeah.
I reached out to you because I've done a podcast with a former Lancing player, which
Yes.
now comes round full circle and seems to be he was telling it how it was, and to the
In what
point
sense?
where he knew there was stuff going on. I reached out to you and I said, "Are you all right?"
Yeah.
Because I was concerned. I know it's like when people go at you online, but you had it going non-stop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what your way of reacting to that was, I'm not going to say anything. And for
Yeah.
someone who knows you and everyone else knows you, you say it as it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't give a
100%.
shit what what people say, but you will have your opinion back. And for you to hold back so much to go basically ghost
Yeah.
concerns, not only for your mental being, but also for the facts within the stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're only
Yeah.
hearing one side of the story, you start thinking, well, hang on, he's not saying anything. Alarm bells are ringing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
No,
maths
without a doubt,
ain't
mate.
mathing. So it's great to have you on to share your bit. And look, I want to make something quite clear before we go ahead. Lancing FC is a club that's close to my heart. I've played for the club. I
Yeah.
live a couple of miles away from the club. I've got mates that drink in the railway boozer all the time. The support love the club. They have had a torrid year. And when I say that, you don't go from having three managers, couple of chair people, multiple committee people within 1 year and a relegation without something being wrong behind the scenes. Three managers can't really be wrong. It can't be the players, you know. So, what I want to give you the option of today is to tell your side. But I'm going to ask you questions, Bill, that
Yeah.
people want me to ask. Yeah, you know me, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
No, no, no.
I
You should ask those questions because I kept quiet for one reason only. When I went in, it was apparent there was deeper problems. So
mm,
if I go and speak or I'm screaming and shouting online, there's one thing that's going to happen. I am going to look a fool, right?
agree.
I'm going to look a fool because if I argue against some of these things that I don't know the truth of, then I'm just going to look like an idiot. And yet people know I don't hold, I'm very open
Yeah.
with where I'm at and what I do. And rightly or wrongly, I do have opinions. And it was really hard for me to be silent, but I thought silence at this time is the biggest respect I can give, which is a shame because of what's happened since. And we'll talk about that later. But the biggest respect I could give the club that I've been brought into to do a job, right?
Mm,
So I was brought in, only had 11 games to go, and I thought, well, look, for 12 weeks, just batten the hatches, try and make it work, get a real understanding. Yes, it's not as clean cut as we thought it was. Yes, there's obvious problems, but if I go out there and go, you're talking bullshit, da 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 da, this, that, and the other, all I'm doing is continually stirring the hornet's nest. And look, I get why Alex Lang did what he did.
yeah. A guy I
I,
respect. I respect Langy. He come on,
yeah,
he supported it. He tells it how it is.
yeah, he tells that side how it is, but
Mhm.
stuff he said about me 100% isn't the truth and isn't factual. Even one of the spaces tried to make out my whole career prior to football was false, which, as we all know, isn't right. So
I could co-sign that.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
and that stuff I didn't appreciate, but the bit for me is phone calls with him when I got the job like speaking with him in person and stuff. I don't think we had a cross word until he didn't play that for that Beckham game. I think that's when it happened on the Friday night. Squad went out Friday night. He wasn't in the squad, along with a lot of the other players that were in a situation with the club, and that's when it all kicked off, right? So for me, he obviously and the players were there before I got there, and it was apparent when I got there that there was issues financially with payments to players and stuff. Um, and yeah, I think because I'm Mike, I'm like I guess I'm not an idiot in the sense of I normally do my due diligence, right?
Yeah.
And I think the opportunity to go and manage at that level got me too excited and made me kind of throw myself into something without really.
Well, we spoke before, and I looked at that role that was potentially coming up,
Yeah,
and I know what you can do behind the scenes, right?
yeah,
Because a lot of the fans just see the players on the pitch and the coaches, but
yeah, that's
90% of it is what goes on off how you actually build a club. Yeah.
yeah,
So I
sure.
knew that you obviously you've been a CEO or the top director at a much higher level. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And
yeah,
you've had
100%.
success. And you've had success. You'd
Yeah, a
also
lot. Yeah,
transcended that into what you do in your day job, which is
yeah,
people can't deny that. Okay.
yeah, 100%.
So let's go back then to let's go back to when um, Sam Morgan,
Yeah,
a guy that I don't know, I respect for what he's done. You know, he's told his side of the story. He come in and took over from Jamie Hollis, a coach I know personally. I've I do know. Great coach, great qualifications. Then Sam Morgan comes in.
yeah,
Sam has a few good results. You know,
yeah,
I think he even won our team of the week at some point. And then suddenly, bang, he's gone for whether it's results, whether it's disagreement, we don't really know. But the first thing he's done that night, he's put out a podcast and a tweet saying, and I quote this: "People can just come in and buy a club these days."
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
To
It
me,
was madness, but it's what it
to,
is.
to me, Bill, what I'm seeing and everyone else on X and all the other socials and that is, hang on a minute, has Billy gone in there to take over, offered money on the grounds that Sam Morgan goes and he takes over? Because that's what I was seeing.
Yeah, well, everyone would have seen it like that because that's the
Yeah,
way it was portrayed on socials, right? The fact is,
go
and
on. Let's
this
get
is
into it and let's talk some
firstly,
Psalms on it.
firstly, let's look, got no like, do I think screaming and shouting online and slagging people off is the right way to go about your business? Like, absolutely not. And I think it's not fair to do that. I think facts speak for facts, right? You look at, and by the way, Jamie Hollis, I don't know. I know his wife because she works at Sussex FA, behind the scenes on match days and stuff, and get on really well with her and what have you. And the bar staff there were always lovely to me and always lovely when I was there. And when I went a couple of weeks ago to say bye, it was really nice. It was all good,
Good,
right?
good.
So I've got absolutely no issues with these people. Even Sam, I don't know him. And the geezer's got my phone number. So if he's got a problem, he should have
Reach
called me
out.
or texted me. Like, let's be honest, let's be men. Um, if we go on facts, if you look at the lot, I had 11 games. You look at
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Hopkins' 11 league games, and you look at Sam's last 11 league games. And I had the worst record of all, right? But if you actually read them, I'm going to read them out now.
Go on.
People need to stop pretending they're pep. It's as simple as that, right? And it is what it is. And neither of us three would have saved that football club. So let's pretend, let's stop pretending. So Jamie Hollis, 11 games,
Yeah.
league games, one win, nine losses, one draw. Sam's last 11 league games, two wins, nine losses. My 11, one draw, 10 losses.
To be fair, that's a pretty consistent record for all three.
Look, I'm gutted I didn't win, and I'll never ever sit here, right, and and not take responsibility for the fact that we didn't deliver results.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to put the blame. I'm going to give the facts on the potential stumbling blocks that we had, right? I'm not going to blame it because ultimately I was asked to do a job. That remit changed very quickly after the Alex Lang situation within the club.
Do you think that
Uh,
really affected your start to the job?
Absolutely. I had to put a load of players that weren't ready for the level in the squad. And that's no disrespect to the players, but when you're in a relegation scrap, it's hard to sign players anyway. A player
Of
that wants
course.
50 quid normally wants 100 quid. A player wants 100 quid, wants 200 quid. A player that wants 150 quid wants 250 quid because it's got to be an incentive to get involved in a relegation battle. The club doesn't have massive pots of cash. When I came in, I looked at it and spoke to Barry and stuff and spoke to what's going on. I said, look, that's your budget. I'm happy to. And by the way, people can say all they want. This happens a lot. And I know a National League South club, not one I've been at, so let's not try and speculate. But I know a National League South club where one of the managers put 10 grand into the budget this year.
And I
Like
think
just
I know who that one is as well.
right?
Yeah.
And and for me, that happens, right? Because if you can put your best foot forward to make you look better in the sense of, do I want to go in there on a shit budget and lose every game and then look bad? No. So I looked at it, looked at the squad before I came in, thought, right, they need a striker, they probably need a 10, and they probably need two centre halves. So this is the budget. This is what I can scrape off the budget with players that might go out the door. And this is what I bring in. And it's probably going to end up being 400, 450 a week extra. So if you work that out over the last few games, that's about 5 grand.
And is that
Yeah.
coming out of your pocket, Bill?
Either my pocket or sponsors, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not,
So
not the budget.
let's get that clear. That is
Yeah.
not from the current Lancing budget. That is on top
On
to
top.
try and improve the team.
Absolutely on top, right? And I said that in the meeting to the lads anyway, my first meeting. I said, if I go over the budget, it's on me. That's my investment into this football club. My investment isn't to pay rent, kit costs, train, whatever. My investment is on top of the budget.
Do you, Bill, part of
Yeah.
that agreement when you signed with Lancing, do you get paid as a coach?
No.
Right. Because I know it happens, but a lot of coaches get a thing. So you took zero money.
Zero. I took it for the opportunity to do that level of football. That's it.
Okay.
Like and look, I don't regret going because I feel like I'm a million times better for the experience.
How?
And how?
How?
Because I've dealt with success for most of my career, right? To deal with adversity and deal with those problems will make me a much better man, make me a much better person, will make me understand that like how hard it is to be in those situations.
Okay.
And look, 100%, I'm better for it.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I want to drill back to some of the listeners what they might not know about the club.
Okay.
Lancing FC do not own the ground. Let's get that clear. That is owned by the Sussex FA, and Lancing FC are tenants in theory. Okay? That's a fact. Now, the income that they get is from sponsors, from partakings of the bar, and partakings of the CAF and thing. I don't think they get money for the gate. Is that true, Bill?
No, so from my understanding, because obviously I went in there a bit naive to their financial situation, but I think they get some bar takings, they get gate money, and if they sell merch or anything like that, but that's it.
But they don't get the money from the local schools, academies that use the Sussex FA.
No.
Let's get that clear.
Sussex FA own the ground.
Yeah.
They rent the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's cool because I wanted people to understand that all this going on in the background, Lancing in theory, like Montpellier Villa were tenants of the Sussex FA.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate that that was their ground and it was sold like decades ago because the club was in trouble then to be redeveloped by Sussex Football Association. The only difference between Lancing Football Club and Montpellier at that point is that it was Lancing's historical home.
Of course. And as I said, I've got many, many mates that have followed them for many, many years. When they're seeing, times when they're getting 200, 300 through the gate, not a problem for them. Great club. So, right. So talk to me about how the job actually came to fruition. How did you did you get in contact? Did they get in contact?
No, so on quickly on it, a mutual called me up and said, look, I've just had a meeting with the chairman. like, I've got to be careful what I say as well
I
because I don't
know,
want.
I know, I know.
I'm
I
not
only want
interested
you
in
to
throwing
say,
people. Yeah,
I only
I'm not
want you to say
interested in throwing
facts,
people.
and I only want you to say what you're allowed to say because I know behind
Yeah,
the scenes there's a little thing going on. Okay,
yeah.
so you've been good enough to
So
come out and tell this. You tell your bit, you can say, but I need facts.
yeah. So with regards to me, right, it's simple. Third party person, mutual between both me and the club, reached out and said I was in discussions for the role.
Yep.
So I put over my proposal, what I would do. It was then discussed, and then I was offered the job. Like that, that's it in a nutshell, right? I didn't hound the club for years or months. Like I actually chatted with Barry, but on the last changeover of managers before that, because I was at a game. I was actually at a game because we didn't have a game at Upfield again, and that was a big factor for me is we wasn't playing games of football at Upfield, and
Which
it
was
was
is another thing because that pitch,
yeah,
bless, meant you had to play about 8 or 9 games in about 3 weeks. It was ridiculous.
yeah, and it was a nightmare for the club, and it caused them issues in the back end of the season. And it probably affected their playoff
Yep.
push. But that was mentally draining for me because every week me and my staff were planning like we had a game and not dropping that energy and making sure the plan everything was done with intention of a game and not playing was mentally an absolute head it was ruining my weekends.
Mm.
So that didn't help in my decision making to go to Lancing, if I'm honest. Um, but yeah, going back to that, that's I was offered the job and we went based on that
Did you
really.
know that Sam was being sacked before that, or was it a case of they made that 100% decision, or were you contributing to that decision for you coming in?
Oh, I definitely wasn't contributing because it was me, Sam, or another manager that they were thinking.
Oh, right.
But I
Okay.
think Barry's made it clear, especially messages that I've read, that the results weren't good enough. And, and like again, they weren't, right? Ignore if I didn't get the job, right, and Dave Aldendorf walked in the door, Sam Morgan would not be saying what he's saying online.
Okay.
I don't believe, right? It's easy to hit someone with something, which is not like fair. So like that's my opinion on it. But the results by all three of us weren't good enough.
No, and that's clear to see. But what I struggle to see is three managers that have all managed at a level and some higher have all failed and have all contributed to getting a team like Lancing relegated. All three managers can't be wrong. There has to be factors behind the scenes that says that's not getting the support. I mean, with that squad you had there on day one, you've come
Yeah,
in, and
yeah,
before you've come in, it's already blown up online. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
been Twitter space. I listened to one of them. It was like the Wild Wild West. Some of the
yeah.
accusations that were coming out. Um, I mean, the wildest one I got was Billy dropped him. Billy transferred 15 grand, bought the club, made it his own thing that he wanted Sam sacked. That
Oh, crazy.
and I know for a fact because
Yeah,
I've seen receipts, and I can co-sign this to anyone that thinks this is bullshit. I've seen receipts. That is not true.
correct.
Anyone, loads of people have got my number. They can call me up, and I can co-sign. That is bullshit.
Yeah,
All right. So what's
yeah.
happened on day one? You've strolled in. You've got your lovely new yellow and black Lancing tracksuit on. You're strolling around there. You're in the dugout.
I didn't have that at that point.
You've got your Adidas Preds on. You're
Uh,
looking at the lovely stadium they've got, and
yeah.
you're thinking, right, I have got one hell of an effing task on my hand because I looked at it and thought, you're either on a hide into nothing or you steady the ship. And I think you would have built next year. You would have brought in
Yeah, I would have.
seven, 8 different people from a higher step and competed. So what happened on day one?
Day one, met the players, explained what we want to do. It was obviously not, words not right, hijacked. It was hijacked based on the fact that, um, let's just say, this, there was prior issues financially,
Yeah,
worries, right? not being paid on time and things like that. That's like I'm not the one first saying that. You know, Alex Lang said that. I'm pretty sure on.
I've heard that's gospel. And
Okay, well, yeah,
to back things up,
yeah,
you've got the new committee that have come in bombshell this week and gone, you lads, your last 6 weeks worth of money that you lads
getting
are
paid.
owed, you're not
Yeah,
having it. You're not getting paid.
yeah,
Now, anyone that's worked for me, anyone that anyone I've done business with, before I get paid, they get paid.
yeah.
Right? As far as I'm concerned, those lads are owed money. Yeah.
Agree.
And I don't, and that is not your responsibility. That's the club's responsibility.
Yeah, agree. But also, they dropped a statement with that on, which obviously doesn't exist online anymore. It's been taken down.
I want to talk about. I know you don't want to talk so much about this statement because you want to keep it as respectful and as
Yeah,
professional in there. I don't give a shit because this is
yeah,
our
okay.
show. All right. Okay. So this is not your views. This is my views. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
They've dropped a statement on the players not getting paid and thrown Billy Wood under the bus. Right.
Yeah, without actually putting my name in, but
Without
saying
putting your name, but
former manager.
everything
Yeah,
insinuates to
yeah.
you, you are the problem. You're the
Hmm.
guy that should be paid. You're the reason that they haven't been paid. Now, I want to shout out a couple of people. Okay. Well, one in particular, I want to shout out Jolsey,
Okay.
who's the Horsham YMCA manager.
Yeah,
Because in a mix full of comments where Billy the snake, Billy the lizard, Billy the rat, Billy the this, all of them, he
idiot.
stood up,
Oh,
yeah, and gone, hang on a minute. From what I know, this don't add up.
yeah.
And it's about time that Bill set a few people straight. Now,
Hmm.
further investigation into this, not with yourself, but with others, seems to point to the fact that they have had financial problems, not just this season, but the season before and
Okay.
potentially before that. Now, there's also some rumours going round, and I must state there are rumours that not only are the players owed money, potentially the FAR as well. And
Okay.
and that's for rent. Now, Lancing, I'm reaching out to you now. If you got anything to say on this, do what everyone else has done. Just provide receipts, and I will admit that I am in the wrong. That's not from Billy. It's not from anyone else. It's from what I've heard. Now that could be totally false. However, if you've got the balls to put out a statement publicly after messaging the players via WhatsApp and saying, you know what, lads, this money you owed in a cost of living crisis where a lot of them have young families and that they're not getting their dough. How are they supposed to react? That to me don't sit well. Okay. And that's only my opinion. And I've really got a lot of time for the club. I really have. I just wanted to see it do well for the fans because they have suffered.